Hi everyone, my name is Becky and I'm here to do my book chat on a book that I read. I know I got some crazy hair going on, so bear with me here. I read Marvin Redpost, Is He a Girl by Louis Satcher. And this is for 3rd, 5th grade interest level. I probably do it in 3rd grade because it's a pretty easy chapter book. Can help start introducing them into reading chapter books. But I am going to start off by reading the passage out of the book, and this is how the book opens up and kind of starts the idea for the book. And it starts off, Casey Happleton said, "If you kiss yourself on the elbow, you'll turn into a girl." Marvin Redpost looked at her. They sat next to each other in Mrs. North's class. Casey had a ponytail stuck out the side of her head instead of the back. "It's true," said Casey. "If a boy kisses his elbow, he'll turn into a girl. And if a girl kisses her elbow, she'll turn into a boy." "Can you change yourself back?" said Marvin. "Sure," said Casey. "You just have to kiss your elbow again." So that's kind of a neat way that the book starts off. And it goes on that they're in the classroom, and after Casey says this to Marvin, Mrs. North tells the kids to settle down and they're going to start their lesson for the day. So what Marvin does is he sets his head on the desk and he's just thinking, oh, Casey's just weird. She's just weird. That's not true, that if you kiss your elbow, you'll turn into a girl. And so what he does is he starts wrapping his self around and trying to wrap his arms around himself and tries to kiss his elbow while he's sitting at his desk, but doesn't want anybody to see, so he tries to be really discreet about it. And then later on, they go home, or Marvin goes home, and after dinner and everything, he goes to bed, and he is laying in bed just thinking like, oh, will it really happen? Will it really happen? Am I going to turn into a girl if I kiss my elbow? And so he's there, he's trying to reach and trying to kiss his elbow, and he gets so tangled up in his sheets in his bed that he falls down and his arm just jerks across him, and he kisses his elbow. And so then for the rest of the night, he is laying in bed, can't fall asleep, and he's just, oh, I'm going to turn into a girl, I'm going to turn into a girl, what is everybody going to think when he goes to school the next day? And so he actually ends up falling asleep for a little bit and has a dream that he's out on the playground playing baseball, and he looks down and he's in a dress. And so he wakes up and he's all freaking out, and he runs to the bathroom to look in the mirror if he is starting to turn into a girl or what's going on. And his sister walks in on him and he asks his sister, "Do I look like a girl?" And she goes, "Yeah, you kind of look like a girl." And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" And she just ends up telling him what he wants to hear and that he looks like a boy and not to worry about it. And so he goes back to bed, and then he wakes up the next morning and he sounds a little funny. So of course that's going to freak him out because he kissed his elbow and he thinks he's going to turn into a girl. So he goes downstairs and his mom's like, "Oh, you sound funny," and he just doesn't say anything and goes outside and meets his friends, his best friend being Stuart. And they walk to the school, and the entire time he's trying to just not talk about or tell his friends that he kissed his elbow, and his friends are like, "You sound really funny," and he's just trying not to spill the beans that he kissed his elbow and he thinks he's going to turn into a girl. So they get to school, and Mrs. North is taking them on a field trip to the park. And she tells the students that they need to pick a buddy because Mrs. North uses a buddy system when they go on field trips. So he doesn't want to get partnered with any of his guy friends or Casey because he doesn't want them to know that he kissed his elbow and that he thinks he's going to turn into a girl, or that he sounds funny or he looks like one. So he actually picks a character that's in the book. Her name is Patsy, and she's kind of the outcast in the class. She doesn't have any friends, so during recess, she actually just plays jacks. She doesn't play with any of the other kids. She just stays by herself. And so he picks her for a partner because he feels like Patsy doesn't know him very well, so she won't know if he's turning into a girl or not. So they're on their way to the park, and Marvin and Patsy are just talking to each other, and he's like, oh, why don't you ever play wall ball with us? And she's like, well, I just don't know how. And he's like, well, I'll have to teach you if you teach me to play jacks. And they kind of just develop this early friendship. And Patsy tells Marvin that she thinks that he's a really nice guy, which really stuck to Marvin because he's having a bad day, and she gives him a compliment like that. And it goes on, they're at the park, and Marvin is starting to feel really bad that he kissed his elbow, and so he wants to kiss it again so he doesn't turn into a girl and that he stays a boy. And so he ends up climbing this jungle gym, and he's up there by himself, and his friends are kind of wondering, like, what's going on, and he tries to kiss his elbow, can't reach, and then he ends up tumbling down this huge jungle gym and falls down, and his arm stretches again, and then he kisses his elbow, and then he was relieved. But Casey comes running over, and she goes, I saw you kiss your elbow. And of course Marvin turns red and gets embarrassed, but he ends up just being happy that he kissed his elbow and he's not going to turn into a girl. And so it ends like that, and actually they go back to the school and they go out to recess later on, and he sees Patsy out on the playground by herself as they're playing wall ball, and he is like thinking to himself, oh, that girl is so weird, oh, that girl, oh, wait, she told me I was really nice. So he goes over and asks her to play wall ball and that he'll teach her, regardless of what his friends said. So all in all, I think this book really kind of gives a really good message in that, you know, it talks a lot about gender, which can be a huge issue in a classroom or in a school nowadays, and we've heard situations of it being an issue. And so this book just kind of sends the message that it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. You can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want to be, and don't worry about what other people think. And so that's something that I have learned through this book, and so I'm going to go do whatever it is I want to do.